Hi.
Oh,
So I'm a songwriter and producer. I started out as a performer myself, a singer, in a few different bands when I was a teenager, and then I've been writing songs though since I was little. I think I wrote my first song when I was 9 years old, so it's terrible.
I was telling the fans that you were also in a general hospital, and your brother is the one that writes the general hospital.
Yeah, so I moved to Los Angeles for acting and singing originally.
Right.
And yeah, I was in General Hospital for about a week long stretch as the same character. But yes, my brother does write. He did write for the show.
Oh, so like I think the viewers are increasing right now. The numbers of the viewers. Would you say how are you feeling right now?
I feel fantastic. I feel lucky to be here. First of all, I love K-pop. I fell in love with it. I actually only started writing K-pop in 2018, but I had listened to it prior to that because I'm a huge fan of pop vocal groups from like the late 90s, early 2000s. Groups like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, but then also Drew Hill, Jagged Edge, Jodeci. So when I first heard K-pop, it reminded me a lot of those kinds of groups for some reason, and I can't even explain why, but it just clicked to me that way, and I just fell in love with it because it reminded me. It had some of the same qualities of the groups I loved. And I still realized there was a difference between the two, but there was something that connected them that made me fall in love with it. What I love about it is it's forever changing, and you can never get bored listening to K-pop, which makes writing it very, very fun. And then as far as mainstream music in the U.S., there's been a lot of growth here in the States with as far as K-pop. We're the number 3 importer of K-pop album sales, so it has been getting increasing into our mainstream. Obviously with BTS, but more so now with Blackpink just hitting our festival circuit. I think things like that have helped. But from our ears, pop music listeners here in the States, it sounds familiar to them. It sounds interesting to them. I don't think the people in the States, when they hear a Blackpink song on the radio, I don't think they think it's K-pop. I think they just think it's really great music.
Another question that sparks their interest was about AI. What do you think about AI role in music business? Because now it can, write the song, right? So what do you think as a composer and producer, what is your thoughts on AI and the changes that it's making in music industry?
Well, first off, AI is coming, and I think it's here to stay, for better or for worse. But as far as being a songwriter or a writer of any kind, I don't particularly love the idea of having songs written by AI. I think even the best AI will be missing a human element. So I do think that actual songwriters or movie writers or TV writers or book writers, because we're all going to be affected by AI.
Right.
I still think we have a bit of an advantage because we have a heart and a soul and years of experience of our lives that is unique, that only we can tell. AI can fake that, they can pretend that, and they can probably come up with some very good lyrics, but I don't think it'll have the heart and soul.
So he was asking that people like aspiring artists who are studying music, for example, if you like Stevie Wonder, you start to sing like him, right? You start to imitating his techniques and the style. And do you think that is a right approach?
I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I feel like everybody does it. Just kind of human nature, because I know I did that. I don't know if it can hurt you. I'm not a vocal coach really, but my opinion is, like, for example, Adam Levine from Maroon 5. Maroon 5, when they first started, they were more like Nirvana, Soundgarden. They took a break, and during their break, Adam Levine and Jesse Carmichael listened to all of the soul and pop and funk music from the 70s and 80s that they loved. Adam even said, going back and kind of rediscovering his the artist that he truly aspired to be like. Right. That's when his true vocal came out. And when they recorded their first album, Songs About Jane, they had a completely different sound. And now Adam Levine has a very distinct voice, and it doesn't sound like his idols, but his idols helped bring him to his voice.
Right. So it's like it's a journey of searching your true voice. I think it's a part of your journey, right?
I think it can be. Yes, it can be. Yeah. And the last thing I would say about it is, I think it's okay to take the best parts of all of your favorite singers and internalize them, but you never want the final product to be an imitation. The final product always has to come from inside.
So he was saying that when he produced music with a vocalist, he does a lot of directing and coaching, while recording. Is there something that you particularly focus on when you work with a singer?
Pitch and timing, always. I know that's the obvious answer, but it's true. And I'm so picky about it as a producer because of how hard I had to work at those two things as a vocalist. Now those are the first two things, but I also think about dynamics a lot.
Hmm.
I don't know how to say this. You don't want to be full force, like all the time throughout the whole song. Do you know what I mean, Jamie? Like you don't want to sing at the same level the
Oh,
whole song.
gotcha.
It has to build. So like in a ballad,
Hmm.
you would want to start softer and build the dynamic vocally as the music dynamic also builds.
Yeah.
So that is something I'm always thinking about as well is the dynamics. And Hyojin might understand more what I'm saying.
Do you think that a vocal coach is like promising career? What do you think about like career as a vocal
Oh,
coach?
absolutely, absolutely. Definitely here in the States, I've known several vocal coaches, and some of them only work for top 40 artists, and some of them are there's just like any job there's levels, but I think here in the States and probably the UK as well. I think that is a very prominent job within the music industry. There's definitely room for the producers and songwriters as well as vocal coaching. I don't know that I would say that half the top 40 would use a vocal coach. I know all of the older artists like 70s, 80s, 90s, they had to have vocal coaches. Even in the 2000s, if you're in pop, you have a vocal coach. I think that's it. Even more rock bands like Matchbox 20. Matt Serletic is their producer, but he made Rob Thomas go through vocal coaching. And they were just a group of teenagers who got together to be a rock band. They probably weren't thinking I need vocal coaching,
Right.
But the industry here they place an importance on that.
So I told him about your appearance on Ellen's show. So tell us about it.
Okay. First of all, it probably never should have happened. I got very lucky because I made a comedy, a funny website called I'm Gonna Be on Ellen. It had funny stories and music, but I would talk on the website as a joke. Any day now, Ellen is going to have me because my mom says I should be on the show. and then 3 weeks after that website went live, the producers called me and they said, "So what is going on with this? And tell me about this." And so then I had to just talk about the joke, but like how my mom really thinks I should be on the show and how I thought it was funny. Because my mom doesn't understand it doesn't work that way. On the phone, they asked me to create some more videos. And I did, and then we posted the videos, and then a couple months later, she just invited me on the show and asked me to perform a song and if I would be interviewed, and she brought my mom along.
Awesome. It's like 20 years ago, no?
It was 2007.
2007, yeah, 15 years ago, 15, 16, yeah.
Yeah, and since then, so many people ask, can you help me get on the Ellen Show? How do I get on the Ellen Show? And honestly, I have no idea because it was a joke. It never should have happened. Last thing I'll say, but I'm very thankful that it did happen. I'm super grateful to Ellen and her producers for having me on because that exposure was priceless.
Right, it's leading you to other gigs.
Yes.
Right?
One more point.
Yeah,
It just proves that there are a lot of very, very talented people. But sometimes some of us get lucky. And with the Ellen Show, I got lucky. I don't know how to explain it other than that. There are a lot of other talented singer-songwriters who could perform on the show and be awesome. But my story happened to work out. Again, like people will say no to you. You will get rejected throughout your career. It does not mean you're not talented.